let's talk about our last topic. So our last topic was about headlines and the news. And before that, of course, we talked about the relative clauses. The focus was how to use who, which, that, and where. And they're not really hard to use, but they're very useful, and they're quite important when you want to write complex sentences. So they're very, very useful. So we talked about that, and we learned about the crime that happened. After that, we talked a little bit about the news, and we found out you're not very interested in the news. And we also read these 4 headlines. We also heard the story about the lost wallet, which was found 55 years later. Now we're gonna, I think, because we're gonna get some questions, we're gonna have some questions here about the listening that we listened to last time, the track, but I think we need to cover these words first. So I'm just going to read them for you. If you find any new words, I'll talk about them. So we have the army, a demonstration, a track, the backseat, a protester, a fan, march, a disaster, medical supplies, a classic car. Are there any words which are new in this box for you? Any new words here?
No.
No. All right. So this means, let me show you this question, question number 4. I don't know how much you can remember from our last lessons listening, but try if you can and match these numbers and this information. Try to match it to the 4 headlines, A, B, C, D. You don't have to do all of them. Whatever you remember, just try to match them, because after that, we're going to play the track and find the answers.
Oh.
So number 1, 300,000 people. What did this number refer to? Which headline do you think?
I think B.
B?
Yes, maybe.
Okay, I'm going to write your answers. Then we can find out. So let's write B. And what about the other number, 30,000 people? What's this? What does it refer to? Which headline do you think? 30,000 people.
Maybe D.
Maybe D. Okay, let's write D.
Yes.
Then we have a 1946 Hudson car.
C.
All right. Then 1.2 billion.
A.
A, okay. And after that, a driving license.
C, maybe.
Okay. Let's write C. Then it says towns and villages.
D.
D, okay. Number 7, over $1 billion. Sorry, 1 billion pounds.
A.
A, okay. And the last one, 20 arrests.
B.
B. All right, let's go to the listening track. Let's find out.
Okay.
So we need to go to track 31. Track 31. Okay, let's find out.
Track 31.
It's 10 o'clock, and here with a summary of today's news is James Humphrey.
There have been demonstrations in London, Edinburgh and other cities around the country today to protest against government spending cuts. Tracy Spencer has this report from central London.
Today's demonstration in the capital was the biggest so far, as people continue to protest against the government's plans to cut £20 billion from public spending next year. About 30,000 people marched from Hyde Park to Trafalgar Square, many of them hospital workers, teachers and government employees who could lose their jobs because of the cuts. 2 police officers and 12 protesters were injured, and the police made 20 arrests.
In Pakistan, heavy rain has delayed relief efforts as the army tries to get emergency food and medical supplies to the victims of last week's floods, which destroyed towns and villages in the north of the country. Over 300,000 people are now homeless, and the Pakistani government has described the situation as a national disaster. Music fans in the UK illegally downloaded 1.2 billion tracks last year, according to a new report by the music industry. The report says that while the number of legal downloads continues to increase, more than 3/4 of tracks downloaded in the UK are from illegal sources. The report says illegal downloading costs the British music industry over £1 billion a year. And in the USA, a man who lost his wallet 55 years ago received a surprise today when his wallet was returned to him. Mr. Goodlove, who is 75 and lives in San Diego, lost his wallet behind the back seat of his 1946 Hudson car. It was found by 2 men from Idaho who collect classic cars. The wallet contained Mr. Goodlove's military ID, his driving licence, several receipts, and a $10 bill.
Okay, so this means most of them are correct, right? So what about number 1 and 2? What are the correct answers for number 1 and 2? What do you think?
About number 1, it's B.
Correct. Number 1, you mean D? Because you answered B, but it's supposed to be D.
Number 1, it's B. B.
But you answered B.
Okay. I can't see the...
You can't? You can't see the book? Can you see the book? You can't see the book, Samiha?
Yes.
Okay. I thought maybe you have a problem. You can see the book, right, Samiha?
Yes, I see it.
Okay. So
number 1. It's D.
Correct. And number 2?
Number 2, I think it's B.
That's it. Yeah, these are...
I'm not sure.
You're right. Yeah, these are the correct answers. Because B, 30,000, this is the number of protesters. And 300,000, this is the number of people who are now homeless because of the floods in Pakistan. Okay, now let's move on and let's take a look at our next exercise. So here, sentence stress. Okay, nothing new. The only thing they want you to notice is this point here. They're telling us that usually in the news, just like the track we were listening to, the way they speak, and I think we talked a little bit about this in our last lesson, they usually stress almost all the words. We do this in Arabic. I don't know if you've noticed it. Do you notice how TV presenters, especially Al Jazeera presenters, when they talk, do you notice the way they talk? Mm-hmm. It's very artificial. It's not natural, right? Yes. Because they're trying to emphasize all the words. And in English, they do this maybe a little less, not as much as in Arabic, I think. But they still do it. They still do this the same style. They try to stress all the words because they want the listener's attention. It's different from how normal people speak at work or in the street. It's not the same. So this is the only point they want us. They want us to listen again, but I don't think we need to. It's a waste of time. All right. So now let's move to reading. So remember, this lesson, the skill that we're going to work on is, we already covered the first skill, which is listening to the news. But the second skill we're going to talk about is guessing meaning from context. Have we talked about this before? Guessing meaning from context. Did we talk about this skill before? I think we didn't.
No.
No. Okay, we didn't talk about this. And this is very, very important, actually, especially in the next levels, intermediate, upper intermediate, advanced. This is very, very important. Maybe now, not so important, but later it's going to be very important, especially if you want to, maybe, I don't know, maybe you want to do some examinations, you want to work as a doctor abroad, you want to do IELTS, TOEFL, MCQ1, these kind of things. You have to be able to read long articles, even when you don't understand all the words. You have to be able to guess. And this is actually easier than it sounds, because, for example, if you have 10 words and maybe you know 8 of these words, or maybe 9, okay? This word that you don't know, you can guess it from the other words you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And actually, if you try it, you'll find that almost 90% of the time your guess is correct. It's almost the right word, your guess. And this is a technique that we need to use all the time when we're reading. If you see a word you don't know and you can't check it in a dictionary, because maybe it's an exam, maybe you're in a hurry, guess it and move on. You get the idea? You shouldn't stop just because there's a new word. So what? If it's a new word, no problem. Just try to get the overall meaning. So this skill, this reading skill, it's a reading skill. It's called guessing meaning from context. Context اللي هو يقصد بسياق الحديث سياق الباراجراف أو المقطع. هذه الفكرة. All right, so this means we're gonna now go and read this article. And if you find any new words, just try to guess them. Don't worry too much about them. But here it says, try to put pictures A to D in order. So they want us to do this little exercise before we read. So remember here, we don't know anything about the story, but we just want to look at these 4 photos. Can you see them? A, B, C, D. These 4 photos or pictures. Can you describe to me what's going on in each photo, and if you could put them in some kind of order?
It's the same story.
Yeah, all of it is from the same story, yes.
Okay.
It's related, I mean, it's all happening together.
Okay. B is number 1, I think.
Okay, B is number 1.
B is number 1.
B is number 1.
Yes.
What about number 2?
Then C is number 2.
C is number 2. Okay.
Yes. A is number 1. N is number 3. A.
A is
And D is
number
number
3.
4.
All right. Okay. Now, what do you think is going on in each photo, or if you could make a story from it, what is the story?
I think the 3 girls come back to their home. They found their laptop or computer. The TV is not is stolen.
Okay. So do you think the TV was stolen? That's what happened. Okay. And what happened after that?
I think they checked their camera or video.
And where was the camera?
And what?
The camera, I mean, where was it? Was it in the wall, for example?
Yes, maybe. I'm not sure.
Okay.
And they know who's stolen the.
Who the burglar was, you mean? They found out.
What?
So they found
that slightly.
my connection. Okay, just a second. What about now? Can you hear me clearly now? Is it better now?
هو كلير يقطع شوي مرة يختفي الصوت.
توا كويس ولا قاعد يقطع؟
توا كويس.
Okay, ممكن ضعف شوي. Let me repeat the question. So the first question was, how did they know? How did they know the identity of the criminals or the burglars? What do you think?
I didn't understand you.
I mean, you said that they came back home and they found something stolen, right?
Yes.
The women. But how did they know who stole them? Because can you see the men are being arrested in photo D here, right?
Yes. Maybe they found them by the computer camera or the same their laptop. They use the 2 boys who stolen the laptop. They use it and they catch them by the camera of the laptop, I think, because this is the same chair and the same door.
Good point. Yeah, so okay, so you might be right, but let's read first. So here's the news report. So this is a news report. So you can start here, and when you get to the bottom, just tell me, and I can, I can remove I can scroll down. Okay. So you can start here. Burglars caught by stolen laptop.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, let me move the page a little bit.
Okay.
So what about your guess? Was it correct about what happened?
Yes.
Was it exactly like you said or almost exactly?
Not exactly, but it's some idea.
I
She
think
takes the
it's
photo to the.
I think it's almost exactly what you said. The only difference is that the owner, she's the one who used the laptop for camera. But it's absolutely, but it's right. I think what you said is correct. Okay, so let's try to answer a few questions here. So here it says sometimes you can guess the meaning of the word. So there are three different ways, or three different, let's say, techniques that we can use to guess what the meaning of a word is. All right. So here it says the first thing is you can, if you know a similar word in your language or another language, you know, this can help. For example, in Libya, we use a lot of Italian words, and these Italian words are very similar to the English words, right? For example, we say balcona, which is balcony. We say radiatore, which is radiator. So these are almost the same words. In Arabic, we say computer, which is from English, computer, right? So this is one way. This is one way you can guess a new word. Maybe you know a similar word in your language or maybe in another language. So this is one way. The second thing is it helps if you know what type of word it is. Is it a noun? Is it a verb? Adverb, adjective, preposition, what is it? If you know what part of speech, this can also help you guess what the word means, all right? And the last part is the one that we talked about, understanding the general meaning of the text and the rest of the sentence. So you try to guess the meaning of this word from its neighbors, from the words that are before it or the words that are after it and the general paragraph. This is the idea. Okay. So now let's use these techniques or these tips. And let's try to do number 7. So here it says, look at the words in bold in the article. Are they nouns, verbs, or adjectives? So let's start here. It says electronic goods. What is this word? Is it a noun, verb, adjective, adverb, preposition? What do you think it is?
Adjective.
Okay.
Goods.
But
no, it's not. No.
Why did you think it's an adjective, and why do you think it's a noun?
No, I didn't see this. So electronic goods, I think the other meaning. Electronic. I know the meaning, but can't explain.
But you're right.
Okay, it's a noun, I think.
It's a noun. It's a noun. Yeah. This is what we want. We just want. We don't need the meaning now. We just want to know What kind of word is it? So you're right, it's a noun. This one, I think this is easy. Contacted her because blah, blah. What about contacted?
There's a verb.
Correct. It's a verb. And logged onto?
Also verb.
Yes, correct. Using remote technology?
Adjective, maybe.
That's correct. It's an adjective. They realized?
Verb.
Right. They and one of her roommates recognized?
Verb.
Stolen property?
Noun.
It was definitely a very smart use. Smart?
Adjective.
That's correct. That's right. So this helps. If you know what kind of word it is, this is one thing, the one way that helps. Now, here, what we want to do in part B is we want to guess the meaning, and you have two choices to choose from.
Okay.
So the word goods, electronic goods. So goods here, does it mean excellent, or does it mean things you can buy or sell?
Things you can buy or sell.
That's actually correct. Yes. Then what about contacted? What do you think? Is it A or is it B?
Talk to.
So it's A, you think?
Yeah, A.
Okay, that's also correct. And logged onto? When you log on to something?
Connected to.
That's correct. Means connected. Then we have remote.
Remote.
Think of the remote control.
Far away.
No,
I think it's modern.
Okay, but let's think a little bit of the remote control. How do you use the remote control? What happens if you lose the remote control? What do you need to do?
You can't change the channel, maybe.
You can, but how? It depends. If you're using the small receivers, yes. If you're using the receivers, which are just a little panel for the remote control, correct? But I think the old receivers had buttons, right? Do you remember them?
Yes.
So you can change the channel from the receiver, right? But what does this mean? It means you have to move close to the television or to the receiver. Like in the old televisions, the old black and white televisions, you have to change everything from the TV itself. Do you remember? So what do you think remote means?
Far away.
Correct, that's the idea. So remote, it means from a distance, something from a distance. Okay, realized.
B, suddenly understood.
Recognized.
Recognize.
If you're not sure.
Or her face, maybe.
Correct. But remember, if you're not sure, you can always check the word in the sentence. This way, it will make guessing it easier.
Yes,
property.
Yes. Property. Things you own.
And smart.
Clever. Intelligent.
Correct. So you can notice here that all of the words are they're not really hard, to be honest. I think they're appropriate for your level now. But sometimes you might run into a text which is a little hard. So you'll find yourself forced to guess. You get the idea. And even if you find yourself in this situation, you shouldn't panic. Just try to get anything you can. This is the idea. Even if it's not 100%, doesn't matter. All right. So this is the point here. Think of 3 stories you can remember, make notes, tell your teacher, blah, blah, blah. I think this is a writing exercise. We can't do it. But okay, let's do it as a speaking exercise. Tell me about any story that maybe you saw on the news, read on the internet, maybe a co-worker at hospital told you this story. Something which is a little strange, or kind of interesting, real, of course, a true story. Do you have any story which is something recent that's been going on, maybe in your town, maybe in another city, maybe, I don't know, anything. Do you have any stories similar to this story? And you could change the names of people to keep their identity. You don't have to say who they are.
No, I can't remember any story.
No recent stories. Yeah, anyways, this is what they want you to do in exercise 8. They want you to think of a story you've heard recently and maybe talk about it, write a few notes. This is what they want. All right, so let's move on. Now, let me, I already told you a little bit about echo questions. So echo questions are, they're not really something very, very super important, I think, but it's something that British people do a lot, okay? So we don't want to focus too much on it, but I do want you to notice how they use them. So here, let's start with exercise number 1. So number 1, they want us to take a look at these people in the photos. I don't know if you remember them. We had a lesson about them. Do you remember? Carol, Juliet.
Yes.
Yeah. What happened in the last lesson? In the last time we talked about these people, what happened? Do you remember?
I think and the lesson when she wake up, Juliet wake up late, maybe, or
I think there was some
something.
kind of invitation, right? Do you remember?
Yes.
But do you remember who invited who?
Carol and Juliet. Maybe Carol invite Juliet.
Okay, it doesn't matter really, but I think you're right. Carol is the one who invited Juliet. That's correct. And do you remember what Matt and Ben did at the end? Do you remember where they met? They met at the red something.
Red Lion.
Yes, the Red Lion.
I think.
It was a bar or pub or something. Correct. Anyway, so these are the same people. Yeah. So now we're going to listen to them talking. And it says here, listen to conversations A to D. Match conversations to the things in the people. So let me see, conversation A to D, but we only have 2 photos. Maybe we have the, okay, so we have the other photos. All right, so here we've got Amy and Jackie. And we've also got David and Liam. Do you remember Liam from Dublin? He was telling, I think, Natalie, or He was telling her about his city, do you remember? Anyways, Liam is Irish, David. All right, so we've got 6 conversations, A, B, C, D, 6 conversations. And what we want to do is we want to match the 4 conversations, A, B, C, D. We want to match them to this list, 1, 2, 3, 4. But let's read 1, 2, 3, 4 very quickly. So number 1, a weekend trip abroad. Number 2, someone who has just had twins. Number 3, a job that someone doesn't want. A late night with an old friend. So let's go to the listening track and let's find out.
32. A.
Oh, by the way, do you remember Charlotte? You know, from the yoga course we did together in Thailand.
Yes, of course.
She's just had twins.
Has she? What did she have?
2 girls.
Oh, that's nice. Well, next time you see her, give her my love.
I will. Anyway, I've got to go. I'll see you on Saturday. Bye.
Bye.
B.
Morning.
Hi, Ben. How's everything going?
Yeah, fine, thanks.
Is everything okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just a bit tired, that's all. I didn't go to bed until 3 a.m.
Didn't you? Why not?
An old friend turned up yesterday evening and we stayed up late talking.
Who's the friend?
His name's Vince.
C.
Oh, Amy, one more thing.
Yes?
Can you work on Saturday? I know it's your weekend off, but Molly's phoned to say that she's ill.
I'm sorry, I can't. I'm going to Berlin for the weekend.
Are you? That sounds exciting.
Yes. My cousin's just got a job there, and it's her birthday this weekend.
Well, have a lovely time.
Thanks, Jackie.
That's okay.
D.
Hello, Liam. Glad you could make it.
No problem.
Oh, by the way, have you spoken to Steve about the national sales manager job yet?
Yes, I've just phoned him, actually.
And?
Steve doesn't want the job.
Doesn't he? It would be a big promotion for him. Okay, well, thanks for telling me. Right, where are the others? We need to start the meeting.
All right. Okay, so let's match the conversations. So conversation A, Juliet and Carol, what did they talk about?
Someone who has just had twins.
Right. And Ben and Matt?
A late night with an old friend.
Right. And then Jackie and Amy, what did they talk about?
A weekend trip abroad.
Correct. This means Liam and David, what did they talk about?
Someone who has just a job that someone doesn't want.
Right, exactly. All right, so now I want you to take a look at number 2 here, exercise 2. So here we have a little speech bubble. Actually, this is the box, not the, these are speech bubbles. Can you see the speech bubbles? So هما يقولوا لهم speech bubble. ببساطة الشخص اللي يتكلم يعني. Can you see that?
Yes.
So in each situation, one person is talking, and then we have, it's like a response. Something, a response, something, a response, something, a response. So we're going to fill these 4 responses in these 4 speech bubbles. We're going to fill them using the words in this box. So we have, didn't you? Has she? Doesn't he? Are you? So let's start with the first one. So I'm going to read the speech bubble and you give me the response. Steve doesn't want the job.
Doesn't he?
That's right. I'm going to Berlin for the weekend.
Are you?
Mm-hmm. I didn't go to bed till 3 a.m.
Didn't you?
Mm-hmm. She's just had twins.
Are you hearing me, Doctor?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you say it again?
Has she?
That's it. Yes. So that's all. Do you see how they work? These are called echo questions. I think I'm trying to think if we use
this question not need for answer.
Yeah, exactly.
Answer.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They use them without a need for an answer. You know, you don't have to answer them. But I think in Libya, I'm trying to think of how we do them. اعتقد احنا نديروا فيها نعاودوا في الجمله نفسها. مثلا خالد ما صلحش السياره، ما صلحهاش بالشكل هذا، زي نفس الطريقه هذه. ولا ما قدرتش نكمل الواجب، ما كملتش، زي كانك تعاودي نفس الشيء اللي قاله الشخص الثاني في الحوار، وما تطلبيش انت في جواب. زي ما قلتي you're not looking for an answer. وهذا للعلم مختلفات شويه على الكويستشن تاج، لان الكويستشن تاج يقولهم نفس الشخص. مثلا you like chocolate don't you، نفس الشخص هو يقولهم، ما يجوش في صوره في شكل رد مثلا. او شخص مثلا يقول لك you've been to Berlin haven't you، ولا you don't like French do you. هذا يقولها نفس الشخص، هذا يسمون فيهم بالضبط. هذه question tag اللي هي المقابله في الليبي. احنا هنا بنقولوا ولا قريت انجليزي انت، ولا سافرت لألمانيا، ولا كملت هذا، ولا واللي هي الولا احنا نقولوا فيها. but you can sometimes confuse them. echo questions and question tags مش نفس الشيء. الايكو questions الحقيقه مش هل بيستعملوا فيهم، ممكن الانجليزي بيستعملوا فيه، مش شيء عاد هذا، مش زي question tag. question tags are more common. So echo questions are not really important. So it's just something that natives sometimes do. Anyways, let's move to number 3. So it says here, look again at number 1 to 4, choose the correct rule. So we want to choose the correct rule. It says, we use echo questions when we are, you have two options. Interested or surprised, or didn't hear what people said. What do you think?
Interested or surprised.
That's actually correct. And here it says we use the main verb or the auxiliary in echo questions. What do we use when we make an echo question?
Auxiliary.
Right. It says we use names or subject pronouns in echo questions.
Subject pronoun.
Right. If the sentence is positive, the echo question is positive or negative?
Positive.
Right, it's the same. And if the sentence is negative, this means the echo question is
negative.
And if you remember, this is the opposite of question tags, right? Do you remember question tags? It's the opposite, right? So if I say, you like chocolate, don't you? The question tag is opposite, right? The question tag is negative if the sentence is positive. Or for example, you haven't been to Germany, have you?
Yeah.
Right? So it's opposite. Question tags are different from echo questions. All right, so I want you to think of echo questions for these sentences. So I'm going to read the sentence and you can make an echo question. I work for the BBC. Do you? This is the echo question. Number 2, he lives in a lighthouse.
Does he?
Correct. They bought a new house last week.
Do they?
Again?
Do they?
But they bought.
They bought a new house last week.
I think you said it correctly the first time. Maybe I didn't hear you well.
Do they? Do you or do?
You have
do
to use.
They?
We have to use the same pronoun, they.
They.
But what's the tense of the sentence? What's the verb form?
Last week, did they?
Yes, Did they? Did they? Did they? Number 4, I don't get up until midday.
Didn't you?
I don't get up until midday.
Don't you?
Uh-huh. Number 5, they've just got engaged.
I just got it. Mm. Do they?
But what is it? Is it present simple, the sentence?
Have they?
That's it. It's over 30 years old.
Is it?
That's it. Correct. Okay, so all of these are examples of echo questions. Now, okay, we can skip the intonation. I'll just tell you what the idea is very simply. So if you're interested, your voice should sound interested. It should go up and it should go down to show that you're interested, your intonation. But if you're monotonous, like schizophrenia patients or the other ones, which is schizophrenia, which matter personality disorders, they speak in a flat intonation, like a robot. So this means you're not interested, or you're bored, or you're angry, or you're upset. So here I'm just going to play quickly 6 different examples, and I want you to tell me each one. Do you feel the person is interested or not interested? All right.
33. 1.
Marcus and Nicola are getting divorced.
Are they?
So number 1 is I, it means interested. Now let's listen to number 2.
2.
My brother doesn't eat meat.
Doesn't he?
Not interested.
3.
I'm not going to my niece's wedding.
Aren't you?
4.
Interested.
My dad played football for England.
Did he?
5.
I haven't told my parents yet.
Haven't you?
Not interested.
My grandmother's 97.
Is she?
Interested.
Yeah. So it's actually easy to find out if a person is interested or not interested. And I don't know if you pay attention to how actors speak. There's a lot of, because they've been trained. So intonation is very, very important. And if you focus on scenes, if there's a comedy or drama, or the intonation usually is part of the acting. So it's very important. All right, so let's move on. So it says here, write echo questions for these sentences. So we want to do the same thing as number 3. It's the same idea. So I'll just read you the sentence and you can think of the echo question. Number 1, my son isn't happy at school, isn't he? Number 2, my boss hasn't replied to my email yet.
Hasn't he?
Right. I've just seen your dad on TV.
Have you?
Correct. My parents aren't coming this weekend.
Aren't they?
I went to South America last year.
Do you?
I went.
Did you? Did you?
Correct. My brother doesn't have a mobile.
Doesn't he?
I want to buy an Aston Martin.
Do you?
My mother plays golf every weekend.
Does she?
Right. So these are, simple examples. Okay, now let's move to this. This is, let's see, number 7. Write 6 interesting things. Not important. All right, now this is nice and important. Here we want to work a little bit on the pronunciation of, we call these diphthongs. Diphthongs are vowels. Diphthongs are when you have 2 vowels together, but there's a change in sound. So, for example, if you listen to these words, we say slow, slow, grow. Can you see there's a change in the vowel sound? It starts slow, then it changes slow. Can you see this change?
Yeah.
When you have a change like this, we call it a diphthong. This is 95. Let me just show you examples. 95. موجوداتهم في الكتاب كاتبينهم لكم. Where are they? Here they are. All right, so this is here we have the phonetic symbol, phonetic chart. لكن مش كاتبينهم لك كلمة diphthong. لكن اللي في السطر اللوطي كلهم هادو. Can you see that? If you notice, all of them have two parts, two sounds. Can you notice it?
Yes.
And all of them, they change. So they start somewhere and they move. You move your vowel sound. So chair, hey, like this. Near, near. There's an opening. Near. Tour. So it starts somewhere and it changes. Boy, boy, noisy. Can you see? Boy. And the same thing here. 9, I. This sound. A, like 8 or day. Go. It looks like an O, but it has 2 sounds.
Yes.
Out. So they call these diphthongs. لكن لو تلاحظ الثانيات فيهم صوت واحد بس. The first group هذول اللي هم short vowels. لما تلقي نقطتين هذا long vowel. For example, her, arm, blue, born, eat. كلهم long vowels. اللي فوق كلهم قصار. Father هذا الشوا. Apple, cat, book, on, in, happy, bed, cup, short, long, diphthongs. يعني في رأيي أن هادو هم الحقيقة أصعب حاجة في الإنجليزية إتقانهم هادو. حتى مقارنة باللغات الثانية الإنجليزية عندهم موضوع الفاولز هذا متشعب يعني عنده variety كبير في الأصوات المتحركة. Anyways, so now in this exercise we have 3 examples of these diphthongs المتحولات هادو. So we want to listen to these sounds, and then after that I want you to guess which of these sounds we can find in the box. So let me just play them for you so you can hear them, and then we can hear from the box. We can listen to the ones from the box.
35. 1. O.
Slow. Grow. Own. Yellow.
2. Ow.
Now. Cow. How. Brown.
3. Oi.
Boy. Oil. Enjoy. point.
Okay, so now we know the three different sounds. Now, I want you to check these words and tell me, do they belong to group 1, 2, or 3? So this word, what is this? From which group? 1, 2, or 3?
2.
Okay. Next one.
3.
And this one.
1.
This.
3.
What about this?
Town. 2.
This.
3. 1. 3. 2. 3. 1. 3. 3. 1. 3.
Okay, let's find out. Do you think all of them are correct?
I think.
Okay, let's see.
6. 1.
Snow. Window. Throw. Show.
2.
Towel. Town. Shower. Crowded.
3.
Avoid. Destroy. Annoying. Toy. Noisy. Toilet. Disappointing. Employer.
Okay, almost
So,
all of them.
shower.
Just a few ones. Okay, so how do you say this word?
Shower.
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 How? So which group is it?
Now, like now. 2.
Like now, exactly. Group 2. Shower, now, cow, how. Correct. What about this word?
So, so
These are the same, by the way. They should be the same
1.
group.
I think.
Can you read this?
Show or throw, Dixon.
Let me put a line. Yeah.
Throw.
Okay.
Throw. Like slow.
Correct. And this?
1. Crowded. Or what?
No, here it is.
Show.
Are they the same?
No.
Are you sure?
Not the same.
Can you read both of them?
Throw and show. The same, yes. It's like a slow.
Exactly. Slow, show, throw. It's the same. Correct. And this one?
Crowded.
Like which group?
2.
Correct. But remember, this sound, you have to make it clear. You have to open your mouth a lot. Cow, crowded. It's like cow. Do you know the word cow? Cow, now, crowded. It has to be ow. It has this opening sound. Brown. Because if it's too closed, it will sound like number 1. It will sound like slow and grow. Because slow and grow, you do it with your mouth closed. But now and cow, you do it with your mouth open. All right, so very good. So we have a few mistakes. That's okay. Now, it says here, complete the sentences with W, Y, or I. It's a bit of a spelling exercise. Okay, can you read number 1? And after you read it, tell me the missing letters.
Okay, this show is disappointed and annoying.
And this word, the one in here? Can you
disappointed.
Again?
Disappointing.
Disappointing. Correct. Okay, what are the missing letters?
I and annoying. Y.
Correct. Okay, number 2. Can you read it?
I don't enjoy it when it's crowded and noisy.
And the missing letters?
Y, W, and I.
Okay, what about number 3?
My employer avoids this town when it's snowing.
And the missing letters?
Y, employer, avoid I, town, W, snowing, W.
Okay, and number 4?
The boy pointed out the window at the cow or what?
Yeah?
The cow.
Yes. That's correct.
What's the meaning of this sentence?
Can you say it again, all of it?
The boy pointed out of the window at the cow.
What do you understand from the sentence?
I didn't understand this really.
So what does it mean, pointed?
Like not so.
Sorry?
Like not something.
No. This is how you point. You point with your finger, pointing. Children like to point with their fingers. So?
Okay, I understand it.
Is it clear now?
Yes.
Okay. What about the missing letters?
Don't throw the toys or the towel in the toilet.
Correct. So let's complete the letters. What about number 4? What are the missing letters? And number 5, the missing letters.
Okay. Y, boy.
Okay.
Pointed I. Window, W. Cow, W.
Okay. And number 5?
Don't throw, W. Y. W. Toilet. Toilet.
That's right. Okay, so this was a little pronunciation exercise. All right, so let's move and talk about something else. Okay, this is also interesting. I think this is also a new lesson that we haven't talked about before. Have you heard of reported speech? Reported speech, have you heard about it?
Reported?
Reported speech. Something in grammar. No?
No.
No, okay. So we're gonna learn what this is, reported speech. So we'll find out what it is. But before that, we're gonna talk about...
by the meaning, I think something you heard and you repeated it, I think.
That's actually correct, yes. It's something that you repeat, but when you repeat it, you're repeating it, you're not quoting it. هذه فكرة. If you're quoting it, you will say it exactly the same. So for example, مثلا الجملة الأصلية اللي قالها لي أحمد, I want chocolate. This is what Ahmed told me. بالضبط هيك quote. I want chocolate. هذه الكلمة بالضبط اللي قالها. لكن لما ندير لها ريبورت بنحكيها لك مش حنقولها لك بالضبط هيك. حنقول لك he told me that he wanted chocolate.
Yes.
Do you see that I made a small change? Did you notice the change I made? هو قال I want chocolate. لكن أنا لما درت لك الريبورت لما حكيتها لك قلت لك أحمد said that he wanted chocolate. ففي تغييرة بسيطة صارت. التغييرات البسيطة هذه فيها رولز معينة كيف نغيره على حسب الجملة الأصلية في تغييرات معينة بتصير. فهذه يسموه فيه reported speech لما حد يحكي لحد تاني. And we're gonna see it in this example between وين اسمه؟ نسيت اسم الولد. Ian ومايك بالضبط. Can you see this boy, Ian? Can you see him here?
Yes.
Ian is going to tell Mike about his life and studies and plans. You know, he's going to chat to his uncle about a few things. After that, his uncle is going to talk to his wife about it. But how do you think his wife received the news?
Surprised and not agree.
Yes, she doesn't like what she's hearing, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're gonna find out about what Ian told his uncle, and then how his uncle Mike reported the story back to his wife. Excuse me. But first of all, before we get there, let's talk a little bit about money. So there are many ways to talk about money. So here we have a few phrases, a few expressions. I think you know most of them, but I'm just going to quickly read these sentences. Or let me give you a minute. Take a look at these sentences, these 11 sentences. And if you find anything that's new, just ask me about it. But I think most of them you've already studied, or at least you know them. So take a look first.
Okay.
Okay. Any new words in this list?
No, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
But similar. Some words I think similar, like lost money and waste money.
But what's the difference between I lost some money last week and I sometimes
Okay,
waste
okay.
money? What do you think
Yes,
the,
yes.
the meaning is?
When I waste money, I bought something, maybe not important, but when I lost, I didn't find it again.
That's right. Exactly right. Yeah, this is the difference. Okay, so these are some expressions people use about money. Okay, which of these situations are maybe true for you? Or which of these things have happened to you or usually happen to you? And you can actually change them a little bit to make them true for you. So you can say, for example, I lent money to my sister yesterday, for example. Or I've never borrowed money from my brother, for example. Do you get the idea? You can make a few changes to make the sentence true for you. And if they're true, like they are, just leave them. It means that it's the same.
I spend quite a lot of money on clothes, and I'm trying to save some money for my exam. And I don't think I earn enough money.
Okay.
I didn't lost any money in my life.
Okay, so what should you use to talk about something in your life?
I never.
Okay, that's correct. But there's another.
I haven't.
That's it.
I haven't lost.
Correct. I haven't lost money before, for example, or I have never lost money in my life. Correct. That's right. Okay, so these are nice examples, nice and simple examples. All right, so now let's go to the listening story. Now we're gonna listen. It says, listen to Ian talking to his uncle Mike. Which country is Ian going to? What's he going to do there? So this means Ian is gonna tell his uncle about his future plans, okay? So let's listen to this story and let's find out.
D7.
Ian! Ian!
Oh, Uncle Mike! Hi!
Well, congratulations! After 6 years of study and training, you're finally a lawyer. Wonderful news.
Thanks.
It's always good to have a lawyer in the family.
Why? Are you planning a life of crime, Uncle Mike?
Oh, no. Not yet, anyway. So, are you looking for a job?
I've already got one.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, I'm working in a restaurant.
A restaurant?
Yes, I'm a waiter there.
A waiter?
Yes. I want to work abroad, so I need to save some money quickly.
Where are you going?
I'm going to work in Canada.
Oh, so you're going to be a lawyer in Canada?
No, I'm not qualified in Canada, but I'm going to do voluntary work there with some brilliant environmental lawyers.
Oh, helping the environment. That's good.
But I'll be back next summer, so your family lawyer won't be away for long.
Who's paying for all this?
The people in Canada will pay for everything when I'm over there, but I have to pay for my flight. That's why I'm working at the restaurant. I can save about £100 a week.
How much is the flight going to cost?
Okay, so this is the first part of the conversation. There's another part. Okay, so let's see the questions first. Where is Ian going to? That's the first question. Where is he going to?
Going to Canada.
Right, and what's he going to do there exactly? What is he going to do?
Going to do voluntary work.
Correct. That's correct. But with who?
With other lawyers, I think. Environmental.
Yes, environmental lawyers. That's correct. Okay, so this was the first part of the question. Now, let's see if you can fill in the gaps here from this story. So it says here, listen again, fill in the gaps in Ian's sentences. So what did Ian say exactly? I'm working in a
restaurant.
Okay. And what about number 2?
I want to working abroad.
Are you sure? Is he qualified to work? Is he qualified to work as a lawyer in Canada?
Or work abroad. Work.
But is he qualified? Can he work abroad as a lawyer? Okay, let's leave number 2. What about number 3?
I'm going to do voluntary work.
Okay. Number 4?
I'll be back next summer.
Okay. Number 5?
I can save about £100
a week.
A week, yes.
Okay. Let's listen again and check, and also try to get number 2 if you can, okay? So let's listen again.
Track 37.
Ian! Ian!
Oh, Uncle Mike! Hi!
Well, congratulations! After 6 years of study and training, you're finally a lawyer. Wonderful news.
Thanks.
It's always good to have a lawyer in the family.
Why? Are you planning a life of crime, Uncle Mike?
Oh, no. Not yet, anyway. So, are you looking for a job?
I've already got one.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, I'm working in a restaurant.
A restaurant?
Yes, I'm a waiter there.
A waiter?
Yes. I want to work abroad, so I need to save some money quickly.
Where are you going?
I'm going to work in Canada.
Oh, so you're going to be a lawyer in Canada?
No, I'm not qualified in Canada, but I'm going to do voluntary work there with some brilliant environmental lawyers.
Oh, helping the environment. That's good.
But I'll be back next summer, so your family lawyer won't be away for long.
Who's paying for all this?
The people in Canada will pay for everything when I'm over there, but I have to pay for my flight. That's why I'm working at the restaurant. I can save about £100 a week.
How much is the flight going to cost?
So
I think my answer is correct, Victor.
Yes.
I want to work abroad.
Correct. Okay. All right, so this is what Ian told his uncle. But here in part 3 it says, later that day, Mike is telling his wife, Angela, about his conversation with Ian, his nephew. So we want to listen and put Mike's sentences A to E in the order that he says them. Okay, but take a quick look. Can you please just quickly read A to E, read the sentences, and then we're gonna listen and find out the correct order, okay?
Okay. You want me to read or what?
You don't have to read aloud. You can just quickly
Okay.
check them, so you're prepared when we listen. That's all.
Come on. Okay.
Now let's listen to Mike talk to his wife.
Track 38.
Guess who I saw in town?
Who?
Ian. He's a qualified lawyer now.
I know. That means he's going to earn lots of money. Has he got a job yet?
Yes, he has.
Oh, that's good.
He said he was working in a restaurant.
In a restaurant?
Yes. He's trying to save some money.
What for?
He said that he wanted to work abroad.
He's going abroad?
Yes. He told me he was going to work in Canada.
Why Canada? Have they got more crime there than we have?
No, of course not.
Well, he can probably earn more money over there.
Actually, he told me that he was going to do voluntary work.
Oh, this is getting worse and worse. After all the money he spent on his studies, and now he's going to do voluntary work.
But it's voluntary work with environmental lawyers. He wants to do environmental law in the future. I think it's wonderful. Well, anyway, he said that he'd be back next summer.
Right.
He told me he could save about £100 a week, but I don't think that's possible. And he said the flight was £600.
Oh, he's wasting his money.
Okay. Let's put them in the right order first, okay? So, what's the first thing Mike told his wife?
Well, he said he was working in a restaurant, I think.
Okay. Oops. Okay, what's the second thing?
Hey, he said that he wanted to work abroad.
Okay.
He was going to do voluntary work.
Right.
Number 4, he said that he had be back next summer.
Okay.
Last Monday.
Would you like to listen again to check?
Is my answers true?
I'm not sure. Let's listen to confirm it. Let's listen again and check.
Okay.
Track 38.
Guess who I saw in town?
Who?
Ian. He's a qualified lawyer now.
I know. That means he's going to earn lots of money. Has he got a job yet?
Yes, he has.
Oh, that's good.
He said he was working in a restaurant.
In a restaurant?
Yes. He's trying to save some money.
What for?
He said that he wanted to work abroad.
He's going abroad?
Yes. He told me he was going to work in Canada.
Why Canada? Have they got more crime there than we have?
No, of course not.
Well, he can probably earn more money over there.
Actually, he told me that he was going to do voluntary work.
Oh, this is getting worse and worse. After all the money he spent on his studies, and now he's going to do voluntary work.
But it's voluntary work with environmental lawyers. He wants to do environmental law in the future. I think it's wonderful. Well, anyway, he said that he'd be back next summer.
Right.
He told me he could save about £100 a week, but I don't think that's possible. Andy said the flight was £600.
Oh, he's wasting his money.
Okay, so all of the answers are correct. Now, what we want to do is, we want to match, oops. We want to match these sentences that that Mike said to his wife. We want to match them with the sentences that Ian said to Mike.
Okay.
So, for example, A, he said that he wanted to work abroad. Which one is this?
C. He said he was working in a restaurant.
Okay, so you're starting from number 1C. Okay. And number 2, I want to work abroad.
A.
Okay, number 3.
I'm going to B.
Okay. 4.
B. Somewhere A.
And this is D.
D.
Okay. So do you see how these sentences slightly changed, right? When Mike reported the information, when he reported it to his wife, each time there were a few grammatical changes. All right. So this is called reported speech. It's a rule. It's a grammatical rule. Now we're going to go to number 4, and we want to find out exactly how does this work. What do we do? How do we change these sentences? Is my voice clear or is it choppy? Can you hear me clearly? Can you hear me clearly, Samiha?
No, clear.
Clear now? Okay, just
yes.
Just give me a second. Let me check the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let me check it. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so I think it disconnected. Anyways, let's see. But is my voice clear now? Can you hear me clearly? Okay. All right, so it's working. Okay, can you see exercise number 4 here? Can you see it? Hello? Hello, hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so there's a bit of a problem with this internet. Okay, anyways, let's continue. So what we want to do is we want to notice how the verb changes in reported speech, okay? So in each example from the sentences from Ian, when Ian spoke to his uncle, we want to see the form in direct speech and how this changed in reported speech. So this means these sentences that Ian said to his uncle, this is called direct speech. Okay, because it's direct. He said it directly to his uncle. And the part here where his uncle said it to his wife, this is of course reported speech. So what we need to do is we need to look at the form used in direct speech, and then we want to see how it changed. So if we look at the present simple in direct speech, we will find that it changed to the past simple. And let's take a look at this. Can you see number 2? I want to work abroad. Can you see sentence number 2 that Ian said to his uncle? I want to work abroad. Can you see it? Samiha, can you hear me? Hello? Hello, hello? I can't hear you. Hello, can you hear me? Are you back? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, welcome back.
Yes, I'm back.
All right. Okay, so I was saying that we just want to look at how the present simple changed to past simple, okay? So let's look at the example of present simple. Can you see number 2? When Ian was speaking to his uncle, can you see this? I want to travel abroad. Can you see it? Can you see how it changed? Can you see it? When his uncle said it to his wife, what happened? Can you see how the present changed to past? Do you see it, Samiha?
It to work, change it to past simple.
Exactly. Want became wanted. So this is the first rule. This is rule number 1. Okay. So this is what you do. Whenever direct speech has present simple, when you report it, you have to change to the past simple. Do you get the idea? Is it clear? Hello, can you hear me? I think there's an internet problem in all of Libya actually.
Yes.
Anyways, but if you hear me clearly, that's good. All right, now let's take a look at how present continuous changed from direct speech and how it changed. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's go. So here in Ian, he said, I'm working in a restaurant. But when Mike said to his wife, what did he do?
He said he was working in a restaurant. Change it to past continuous.
Right. So this means present continuous in reported speech becomes past continuous, right?
Yes.
So this means we need to write past continuous here. So this is our second rule. All right, now let's take a look at will. How did we change will? Let me just write past continuous. So let's take a look at what Ian said to his uncle. So Ian said, I'll be back next summer. I'll be back next summer. And then when Mike said this to his wife, he said this. What did he do?
That he would.
So this means will be changed and it became
would.
Would. That's right. So this is our third rule. Let's go back and write it. So this means will becomes would. Okay, so now we've got 3 rules. Now let's take a look at number 4. Can. Let's see how can changed. So Ian, when he was talking to his uncle, said, I can save about £100 a week. And when Mike talked to his wife, what did he say?
He told me he could save about.
So can, how did it change?
Changed could.
Right, that's it. So this is our third rule. So if you have can in direct speech, you're going to move it, you're going to change it to could. This is our next rule. And the final one is when you use be going to, all right? So if you use be going to, am going to, is going to, are going to, this means you're going to change it to was going to, were going to. But let's see how Ian and Mike did it. So Ian said, I'm going to do voluntary work. And when Mike told his wife about this, what did he say?
He told me that he was going to do
voluntary work. Exactly. So am going or is going or are going becomes was and were going. That's right. So if you notice, there's a pattern, right? It's like everything changes to the past.
Yes.
If you think of it.
Yes.
So actually, this is a kind of a rule. In reported speech, there's something called a shift to the past. Everything is shifted to the past. Everything goes one step behind. It's a bit like this. So these are general rules that you need to keep in mind. Whenever you're reporting someone or you're saying what someone told you, we usually do this. Okay, so this is the first part of our rules. Now, the second part, it says, look again at the sentences, then complete these rules. So it says the verb with, okay, so here's what we need to use in the rules. We need to use always, or we need to use never. So we have 2 verbs. So I'm sure you noticed that when Mike was telling his wife, Mike used these 2 verbs, right? He used say and tell, said and told, right? Now let's look at how he used said. He said that blah, 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 for example. But when we use he told, you have to say he told me that blah, 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 right? So this means if you use say, do we use an object or no object if we use say?
No object.
Exactly. This means if you use say, you never has an object. Say never has an object. Do you get the idea?
Yes.
But with tell, it's the opposite. If you use tell, you have to say, he told me, he told her, he told them, he told us. So this means if you want to use tell, you need to use an object. And these are your two verbs that you report with. مثلا some of you had the reporting verbs. Say و tell. في مجموعة تانية لكن هذول منهم يعني. Okay? So this is another thing that's important and you need to keep in mind. Now the final part, it says here fill in the gaps with the correct subject pronoun or possessive adjective. So we have two things to use. We've got possessive, we've got subject pronouns, and we've got possessive adjectives. So number one, it says, I don't see my uncle very often. So Ian said that
He didn't see.
Correct.
His aunt.
There you are. That's it. What about number two?
I don't see my nephew very often. Angela said that she didn't see her nephew very often.
Right. So this means you need to also watch out for the pronouns and the possessive adjectives. Okay? So this is a little introduction into reported speech, how you use it. What do you think of it? Is it difficult? Is it easy? Is it?
No, not difficult.
It's not, I agree. It's not really hard. You just need to, pay a little attention, at least in the beginning. In the beginning, it's good if you stick to the rules. Just use the rules in the beginning. After that, it becomes automatic. You start doing it without the rules. So maybe in the beginning, just use them. And after that, you'll find yourself doing it without even thinking of it. So this is the idea. Anyway, so let's leave the rest for our next lesson. So in our next lesson, we will do more exercises. We'll do a little bit of listening. And we'll also, sorry, excuse me. No, this is not related. This is just pronunciation practice. Okay, so this means we can finish this in our next lesson. And we can talk about the second conditional. Also, second conditional is new. We didn't talk about it before. We talked about the first conditional, right? Did we talk about the first conditional?
What's first conditional?
So this means بدولكم بالsecond, ما بدوش بالfirst. Look at this example.
No, we
took it, yeah.
Studied. Yes.
Yeah, we took the first conditional. Yeah, if you study hard, you'll pass the exam.
Yes.
If you exercise every day, you'll become healthy. وهكذا. If you drive carefully, you won't have an accident. وهكذا. Second conditional تعتبر بنت عمها يعني نفس العائلة عائلة conditional. But there's a difference. There's a small difference. We'll talk about this also. هذو كل المواضيع اللي جايين في ال Pre-Intermediate B في الجزء الأخير أغلبهم حيتوسع لكم فيهم في ال Intermediate. So كلها حيتكرر هذا reported speech, first conditional, second conditional كلها مكرر في ال Intermediate in more detail تفاصيل أكثر.
Okay.
Anyways, that's all for tonight. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you again on Thursday. Good night.
Good night.
Bye bye. Good night.
Good night.